Hey everybody, it is time for the weekly Rahdo recap, which means 3 things are about to happen, folks. I'm going to tell you about all the videos that went up on the channel over the last week in case you might have missed some. I'm going to tell you about videos from other people's channels that I think are great and are worth your time. And I'm going to tell you about some new game announcements and info. This was a big week with some big names dropped. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Are you ready? If so, then let's get going. First of all, talking about a couple of exclusives that are on the channel. If you are a backer of the show here on YouTube as a member over at patreon.com, you can hit that eye in the top right corner of the screen to find out what you need to do to watch the latest Tales from the Vault, where I pull my hair out for over an hour trying to decide how to reduce my collection of over 400 games down to about 70. It was nail-biting, and if that's not enough, you've got Ruel Gaviola and a live-streamed audience second-guessing me every step of the way. So that's a lot of fun. Also a lot of fun, as an exclusive for backers, the latest Rahdo release, where I give you a full video from start to finish of my wife and me, I should say, playing a game. This time it was the Wingspan European expansion. We had a lot of fun playing it, and it's available for all of you as a thank you for helping keeping Rahdo running and supporting the show. These are both available at every backer level. Okay. Now, let's talk about what's available for everybody, though. We had some big videos, starting with a preview of Creature Caravan that I did. This is the latest Euro from designer, artist Ryan Lockett, and it's fantastic. It's kind of like a return to form of my favorite style of Ryan Lockett game. Had a lot of fun playing it. I cannot wait for the campaign to be successful so that I can get a final version instead of the prototype I played, but you can see why Jen and I both really fell hard in love with this racing engine builder. And speaking of previews, Kimberly was a braver run-through than I'll ever be because she did a preview for Railways of the Lost Atlas. Here's the deal, folks. This is basically an 18XX game, or 18XX adjacent. I personally, that was too much for me to bite off, but Kimberly did a phenomenal job introducing people to why there is so much love for the 18XX genre with her preview of Railways of Lost Atlas. You can check that out right now. Oh, I did a run-through for Rats of Wistar. And breaking news, if you've already seen this, you might have heard me talk about some of the issues I had in the final thoughts. Well, the designer, Simone Luciani, or co-designer, has actually posted on Board Game Geek that the variants that I suggested in my final thoughts won't break the balance of the game at all. So yes! I have not updated my ranking yet, but this is going to push it into my top 10 of the year. I'm pretty sure probably into my top 100 of all time now that I've got sign-off from one of the designers to make it perfect for me and Jen. And if you want to know what it's all about, well, again, this video is available for you right now, including the final thoughts where I suggest my variants. And by the way, folks, links for everything I'm talking about today are down in the show notes. Or if you wait until the end, I'll throw you a playlist that will give you every single video so you don't have to go looking around for them, including the one for Rats of Wistar. Okay, then, if that wasn't enough, I also did a run-through for Nucleum. Simone Luciani, again, teaming up with Dave Turchi for the game that people are calling Brass Meets Barrage. I have to admit, I don't quite get the Barrage parallel, but yes, this has definite shades of Brass and does things better in some ways than Brass did. Oh man, this is going to be a year from now in the Board Game Geek Top 100. Mark my words, and I show you what makes it stand out in that run-through. Okay, but still, there's more. Ruel did a run-through for Cosmoctopus and shows how just cool and clever this little Cthulhu-themed deck builder is. He actually did the solo/co-op rules instead of the normal competitive, so you're getting to see a different side of the game, and it's a side I like quite a bit. And then finally, was this it? Yes, my latest Q&A, where I tackle I was going to say topic, a tackle. Oh, I'm all over the place, folks. But I basically answer a bunch of your questions that have been submitted to questions@rahdo.com. And we're going to be filming the next one next week. So get your questions in. What was in this episode? Oh, I talk about, war game mechanisms brought over to Euros. I talk about why do board game publishers mess up two-player rules so often. I rip the doors off and reveal behind-the-scenes stuff that I've experienced. Oh, did you know you can play Wingspan cooperatively? I didn't, but I talk about it here. Official rules for Wingspan co-op. Game hoarding. Why will Jen stop playing a game? What really basically just shuts her down? Some fun questions in the latest Rahdo Q&A. But that's what has appeared on my channel. Let's talk about some other channels now, including two of my favorite people in the world, Amy and Maggie of Thinker Themer. They have, opened the floodgates, folks. Essenspiel is coming. They're going to Essenspiel, and I don't know if this is the first Essenspiel preview, but it's one of the first ones I spotted, and they did a great job. I agree with many of their choices. Some of their choices surprised me. I've never even heard of Rebel Princess, but now I'm definitely interested. And as always, these are two of the most fun, charismatic people you can watch talking about board games, and they're telling you about, in my opinion, some of the yet-to-be-released best board games of the year. So you can check out their top 10 buy, try, or spy video, which was a really nice conceit too. And as always, using a great job putting in the timestamps so you can just jump to whatever you want and read more about them on Board Game Geek. Amy and Maggie are the best. Who else is the best? A new channel called Neon Gorilla. He's only been going for a few months, starting to get a little bit of traction. And I was really intrigued by this video because it's his 7 lessons of his board game YouTube experiment, where he talks about at great length and in great detail all of the milestones he's had so far starting up a board game channel and trying to get it to grow. And oh man, he speaks to me. I've been doing this for over 10 years, and a lot of the stuff he talks about still applies to me equally in my day-to-day running. And so, maybe it's a little bit too inside baseball, but if you're at all interested about the art of making board game media, check out Neon Gorilla's My Board Game YouTube Experiment, the 7 lessons I've learned so far. Really nicely put together. I have definitely subscribed to this channel, I have to say. Okay. Then, there has been a series on the World Series of Board Games about interviewing designers of games that are appearing in the World Series of Board Games. They've done a bunch right now. I've enjoyed them all. It turns out Chris George, a member of the Rahdo Runs Through family, because he's always popping up for those R&R shows, he's a phenomenal interviewer. And so he has talked to some of the biggest designers in the industry. This one I really wanted to call out. It was Paul Denon, the designer of Dune Imperium and Clank, Clank Legacy and all of that. And the new Wild Tiled West. Where's my Wild Tiled West? There it is, just off screen over there. And this was a fascinating discussion about, the origins of all the games he worked on. Maybe I liked it because, like me, Paul comes from the video game industry and has made his transition over into the board game industry. So I feel like we're kind of simpatico. Plus, we both are rocking the Silver Fox look there. But this was really, really interesting with some very cool tidbits. Like Wild Tiled West, it was a title before it was ever a game. They just loved the name of the game so much they had to come up with a game around it. There's just a lot of really fun. Chris does an amazing job as always with these interviews. And the last one I want to give a shout out to is Kavre. They did a review of House of Cats, and I've been enjoying Kavre for a while, but often they end up talking about games after I've already played them. This time, I got to watch them before I played my copy of House of Cats, and they convinced me to rush right out and play it very, very quick. It's a great review. There's a lot of things to recommend, not the least of which is they kept putting in images of and videos of their cats throughout. But I want to see more people doing this. They broke down their review, which, has the standard Dice Tower Scott Nicholson format of let's summarize the game and then give you our thoughts kind of thing. But they broke it down into different chapters. So, I don't need to hear about variable ability tiles or, how luck based is. I get it. It's a role-playing game or a roll and write game. So I thought they really go above and beyond to let you skip around to, I want to hear about the simultaneous play, or I want to hear about how does the game get tougher as it progresses, or I just want to hear your overall impressions, or I just want to hear the final thing. Just tell me your final results. I love this, that they broke it down, the freewheeling conversation they had into individual chunks. I should be doing this, and they did a great job. And by the way, for the record, Ilya, I agree. I am definitely Team Ilya on this one. And folks, they are a great channel. This is a great video for a great roll and write, surprisingly good, and they do a great job of showing you what makes it special. Okay, so those were a bunch of videos that were all very, very nice, and like I said, folks, you'll be able to get a playlist for all of those at the end of the show, or just follow the links down in the show notes. But now, for some of you, the moment you've all been waiting for, let's talk about what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new games that have come to light that are a big deal. And I'm doing these in countdown format from my least excited to most excited, but all of these have made my shortlist wish list. So let's start with number 5, Perspectives, sharing and information sharing investigation game. Now, I was drawn for this not only because of the publisher Space Cowboys, but the designers Matt Dunstan and Dave Neal. Matt Dunstan needs no introduction. So many amazing designs he's done over the years. But Dave Neal, I recognize the name, but I wasn't quite sure. I looked him up, and he's really made a name for himself working on Unlock games, a Sherlock Holmes consulting detective expansion and whatnot. So I kind of get what his background is. And what's really intriguing about this, folks, is it's a deduction, murder mystery, puzzly game, but every player has a different dossier of information that we can't share with each other. And, with photographs, reports, clues, all kinds of things. But this is not like Sherlock Holmes consulting detective where we just put it all out on the table and everybody just tries to figure it out and one player kind of does most of the work. Everybody's got their own slice of the puzzle, and we're working cooperatively. We can't just come right out and tell each other what everybody has, but we have to find a way to solve the mystery by figuring out what's important and what's in front of me, and what do I share with you, and how do we come together on this. That's very exciting to me. That goes above and beyond and really has a new twist on a classic gameplay genre. So I'm excited for Perspectives, even more excited at number 4 for the City of Mirkesh, a strategic city traversal deck building game. No information. Who is the publisher? Who is the designer? Who is the artist? It's just self-published, so it's probably got a ways to go. But hey, they do have box cover art, right? So they must be kind of getting somewhere on it. What is it, though? It is, as it says, it's a deck builder. Competitive one where players are different members of society of a big fantasy city that is being overrun by ravaging monsters. And where we're competing to be the best at fighting them off, doing deck building stuff, traveling around the city, recruiting townsfolk to help us. What really makes this stand out to me is, though, there are 5 different factions. Each player controls a different faction, and that means each player has a radically different deck of cards. Or I'm not quite sure if it's a deck of cards, but they talk about this kind of broadly in the description. Where was it? That, if you are the industry, you've got a different way of going about things than if you're in the royal court, or if you're a merchant, or if you're one of the wild folks living around the city, or if you're working in the underbelly. Whichever one of these 5, we're all trying to do the same thing, save the city and score points doing it, but we go about it in radically different ways, like raising taxes on people to build up an army, or, working with your fellow merchants, or, slandering your opponents, if you're the underbelly. I love this. So it sounds like a deck builder with some very, very asymmetrical factions, which seems really, really cool. And I can't wait to find more about City of Mirkesh. Then we go on to number 3, River of Gold. And There's really very little here. A very pretty piece of cover art, but almost nothing in the description other than promise of a metallic gold game board, which, okay, I've never seen that. And it promises minimal downtime, fast and clever. Honestly, this would not normally be enough for me to be excited. It's way too vague. I would need more information. But what really drew me is the publisher, Office Dog, who I'd not heard of before, but who's Office Dog? I looked them up, and it says they're an Asmodee studio that will debut in 2024 with River of the Gold. Here's the deal, folks. Asmodee is known for acquiring board game developers, but now they are making one from scratch. It's a home-rolled internal thing. So that means there must be something special about this game that they liked it so much that they decided to create their own development house from scratch, and that's what draws me in and puts Rivers of Gold on my wish list. Okay, then we've got number 2 and Apiary. Oh, this got announced this week. Spoiler alert, I've already got my copy of the game. I got it a week or 2 ago. Jen, I have already played it. I'm under embargo. I cannot tell you anything about it other than I will be covering it. I believe our videos are allowed to be put up on October 2nd. What can I say? It's a worker placement game. That's well known. It does a lot of worker bumping. It's bringing worker bumping back to Stonemaier, which really kind of kicked the whole thing off. So that's very, very intriguing for me because I love worker placement bumping. And I will say, it's got art by Kwanchai Moria. It's about super intelligent bees, millennia in the future, who are, spreading their wings and exploring the galaxy. A very, very cool setting. And I'm just going to say, quirky. Quirky as all get out. Some of the rules in this game really make you, whoa, really? How does that work? And I can't wait to show it to you. Like I said, it just got announced. But all of those pale in comparison to my number 1, folks. It is Civolution. It's the latest big box heavy Euro from FELD. There's unfortunately only one picture. It's all the box cover, but I went and I looked through the discussion threads on Board Game Geek, and folks are already pulling together info, including, where was it? A post from Stefan Feld on Twitter. I refuse to call it X, on Twitter, where he actually showed a picture of it and said that this is a, where did he say? It's a 4X Euro style meets Ameritrash game. I'm like, whoa, what the heck are you talking about there? That makes no sense to me, but I am very intrigued, especially because I'm like, is Stefan Feld actually doing player combat? But then there's a thread about that on Board Game Geek where Stefan Feld got on and said, no, there's no direct player. So how does that 4X, the extermination, work? I'm not sure. I'm going to be there. First line. There was also some people translated an interview from a German podcast and said this is one of his most heavy, complex games ever. So this sounds like he is really spreading his wings and doing a whole bunch of new stuff. It rocked in my number 1 must-have on the wish list. I am subscribed. I will be keeping an eye on the forum for any information coming about my number 1 most anticipated game of the month, Civolution. Okay, and that is it, folks. Was that worth it? I think that was a lot of cool stuff. And if you want to check any of it out, links for down in the show notes, or boom, right there is the playlist. And that's it, folks. You might as well click that or subscribe, or, hey, if you want to know more about those exclusives, there's a Patreon link. But I am done here, folks, because I want to play this. This whole time I've been talking to you, I could have been playing this. This is how much I love you that you have kept me from this. And from this.